Are you looking for an Obsidian farm that is easy to build, single player friendly, hardcore friendly, requires no mods, is AFKable, requires less than a chest of materials to build, super fast build with no withers that can get you 1800 Obsidian an hour? Then this video is for you. So let's get to it. As we said in the intro, this is going to be super easy to build. It requires very little materials. I just kind of worked on stripping this down to its bare bones for what you could do for an obsidian farm. There are upgrades you can do to this, and we'll talk about those as we get to the video. First, let's talk about what principle we're going to use to obtain this obsidian. So this is the end, and this is the main end platform that you would spawn on. If you didn't know, this platform, if you break it, anytime an entity goes through the end portal in the overworld, any of the end portals in the overworld, that platform regenerates. So we can use that to mine up bits of the obsidian and then send something through, like this slab here that we've dropped out of a dropper. And then the next time that an item is shot through, it will once again respawn. As we said at the beginning of the video, these are the materials you need to build this. These slabs, you're going to need more of these, but they don't have to be cobblestone slabs. They could be anything you have lying around. Maybe you got some deep slate slabs you can make up. You got some wooden buttons, whatever you've got lying around, you can use this. And what we're going to use that for is to just reload that end portal. So we have two things we need to do here. First, we need to drop an item through that end portal at its given time. But if we're going to be in the end doing our mining, then we need to keep this area loaded so this machine keeps running. So we also need a chunk loader. For those of you that don't know, anytime an entity goes through another portal, so that could be an item, a minecart, a mob, something like that, the opposite side of the portal is going to be loaded for 15 seconds in a 3x3 grid surrounding that chunk where the portal is. So if I'm in the Nether and an entity goes through that portal, the other side is going to be loaded for 15 seconds. And that 3x3 grid is going to be full processing. So redstone, entities, everything. So if we send items back and forth through a portal constantly on a timer, then that means that this area is permanently loaded. And that's why we call it a chunk loader, because these chunks are going to be loaded no matter where we go on the world. So we're using this chunk loader to keep this area loaded so that this machine will keep dropping items through the end portal and regenerate that obsidian platform. This is a super basic chunk loader. There are other versions out there. You can use whatever version of chunk loader you want. Just make sure that this full machine is going to be inside those chunks that are going to be loaded. So that's why in this case we built it so close, so it's just right on top. All we have is we have the dropper facing into the nether portal. And whenever this clock ticks over, it will then shoot an item through that portal. The item will then come out in the nether, fall into these hoppers, get pushed back over to this dropper, and then as soon as it enters in there, it's going to get shot up to this dropper and then back through, where it'll be caught in these hoppers and then sent back to the same dropper down here. Another thing that could be upgraded is we have just a series of double chests going into this dropper to provide us with items going in there. And the reason that we're using this is, once again, to keep it as simple as possible. But I would also look into using Ilmango's miniature cobblestone farm, and then you can just fill cobblestone into these chests, and then you don't have to worry about filling these up. However, the fastest that's going to use up items is 370 items per hour. So a double chest of stacks of 64 is going to run for 9 1/3 hours. If you're doing this without the haste beacons, and we'll cover that when we get to the end, it's only going to be using 282, so each double chest is 12.25 hours. And if you don't want to look into adding a farm on there, then by all means you can just increase this stack of chests. The reason I say cobblestone is because it is a farm that does not require any player to load anything. There's no random ticks involved in it or anything. So other things that you normally, like bamboo farms or melon farms, things like that, those are all random ticks. They require a player to be in the area. So it's not single player friendly then, because you do need your player to be in the end doing the mining. This hopper clock, if we're doing the non-haste version, has 17 items in it. If we're doing it with haste, you need to reduce it to 13. So that's something to take note of. And then to turn it on, all we need to do is come here and flick this lever. That's going to unlock the hopper clock. And as soon as the hopper clock ticks over, that's going to activate and our chunk loader is started. And now we can just go to the end. And now we're ready to start mining in the end. So to start using it, first thing you want to do is fill up your inventory so that all your inventory slots are taken up. If you're doing this with non-haste, you're going to need yourself a stack of good food. So don't do this with, carrots or dried kelp or something like that. Get yourself some good saturation food, some pork chops, some golden carrots. I'm going to stand right here in front of these trapdoors, right where the center hopper is, and then I'm going to push right up against the edge of that, and I'm going to hold down the left click and the right click on my mouse button. What that's going to do is it's going to continuously mine, and then whenever I have open saturation haunches on my hunger bar, I'm going to eat a pork chop, and now you're ready to AFK this. So this is the part where no mods come in. If you have something like Tweakaroo, you can usually just turn on continuous attack and continuous use, and you're done. But if you are vanilla and you have no mods, then you can press, while you're holding down left and right click, so make sure you're holding those down, press F3 and T on your keyboard, and while that loading screen is up, let go of your mouse buttons. If we can see, well, I guess you can't see because you can't see my hands right now, but I am not touching my mouse at all right now, and my character is still mining away and will eat when he's ready. What that does, that F3T, that's reloading your resource packs, and if you let go of the mouse buttons while that's loading, the game doesn't register that you actually let go of those buttons. So as long as you don't type anything on your keyboard or click your mouse, you can go have a sandwich, you can go watch TV, you can go to sleep overnight, whatever you want to do. When you're done with that mining, just click your left and right mouse button, and then you'll exit that. What you will need on your pickaxe is Unbreaking 3 and Efficiency 5. You don't need Silk Touch and you don't need Mending. And the reason that we're doing it without that is because you need to then resupply yourself with a new pickaxe once this one breaks. And with this, you'll get about 6,200 obsidian per diamond pick. So just kind of keep that in mind that, you're planning out. If you don't want to do a whole chest full of picks, then you can just do a few, and this can get you the calculation of what you want. I say about 6,200 because Unbreaking 3 is not a guarantee. It's a chance, but out of those chances, this is about the average you're going to get. And all we're doing is, by having this dropper above the hopper with the trapdoors right by the player, as an item goes into these hoppers, it's going to set off that comparator, and then it's going to set off this dropper, which is going to drop a pick. And if we have a player here who has an open slot as an inventory, so this then breaks. And now I have no more pick. When that piece that I just mined goes through the hoppers, it's going to spit a pick right into my inventory. Again, this does mean that it's going to be spitting out a pick every time we mine a block here, but that means that we also don't have to do any sort of timer system or be reliant on checking whether or not we have a pickaxe. It's just every time a block gets broken, if a pickaxe broke there, then we'll have a pickaxe. Otherwise, it goes right back into this hopper and goes into the system. So there's no chance of losing any pickaxes or anything like that. So we just have the items going into a hopper directly where they're broken and over to a series of chests. We didn't even add any item sorting on this, again, to make it as easy and as quick to build as possible. You can add on some item sorting. The reason that we've done the center block here is because this is where your items will drop through. And so not only can we then break the obsidian and get those items back, but then they don't stay loaded in the world. So you can filter it and, filter your obsidian in one series of chests and your item that you're dropping through into there. But then you also recover those items. So if you're not doing a farm, then you don't need to do that. If you are doing a farm in the overworld, like a cobblestone farm, and you're not worried about saving those items at all, and in fact, they're just clogging up your storage system, then you can move this over to the edge of the platform. Your cobblestone will fall there. You're mining over here. That stuff will just despawn eventually. Our rates that you can see on the signs here are 1,800 per hour with haste or 1,400 per hour without haste. So if you get yourself a couple of beacons and you put haste 2 and regeneration on those, then you can do away with the pork chops, and you can also increase reduce the hopper clock items and increase the speed of the hopper clock in the overworld, and then you can keep up with that. So those are the rates you're looking at. But if a couple of beacons is still too late game for you, you're in super early game and want to get some farms going with some portal spam, you can still do this without the haste. Just make sure you have your pork chops, your golden carrots, or some kind of good food in your hand. Also, make sure that there's blocks at the end of this hopper line. You, as the player in survival, can only mine to this last obsidian block. And we just want to have some blocks there to make sure that we're blocking any line of sight to Enderman. So we're down in here. We have a block above our heads so they can't get in and push us out of the way while we're AFKing. But if you didn't have a block there, once this was all broken away, there would be a chance that there's an Enderman looking right there, and he still can come and attack you then. But if you have that blocked off, then even an Enderman that would walk down here, his line of sight is still too high in order for you to look at him. And when you are done with your mining, make sure you come back and turn this off. Otherwise, this is going to keep the area loaded. And if no one is in the end, it's going to just start building up those items into the end. So as soon as someone goes into the end, it's going to make a huge lag spike if you leave this going for a long time. But while players are in the end doing their mining, even if you're not collecting those items coming through, they're going to despawn fast enough that it's not going to be a lag issue. There will be a world download for this down in the video description, and so you can see here, here's the materials you need for the end, here's the materials you need for the overworld, here's the materials you need for the nether, or there's just one big material list right here. And on top of that, you're also going to need the pickaxes, which luckily we can easily get from villagers. So your toolsmith can send you a diamond pick, and your librarians can sell you unbreaking and efficiency. So that's going to be it for this. Nothing really revolutionary here. I haven't invented any new concepts or anything like that. Chunk loaders, loading the Obsidian portal, getting that Obsidian portal mined are nothing really that new. But I did want to set out to make the easiest design that I could think of here. That could be, again, all those things we said in the beginning of super easy to build, single player friendly, required no mods, AFKable, no withers, all that kind of stuff. So this is what we've got. Check out that link in the video description for the world download, and I'll catch you later. Have a good one. Bye.